Hello, everybody. Today, I am so excited to be joined on our Canadians Leading with Impact podcast with someone we've worked with for many years. I first met him as a customer, and he's been a customer of ours for a number of years, and he runs a very successful business. His name is Luke Shantz, and he's the founder and president of Arcadian Projects, which is based in Baden, Ontario. And he's got over 25 years of experience in construction and energy management, renewable energy. Really a guy who's grown a business grown it fast. And for our theme of Canadians Leading with Impact, I couldn't think of a better person to talk on this subject. Definitely works in the skilled trades sector, which is a very unique kind of population. And so, Luke, I just wanted to say hello. Welcome to our podcast. Glad you're here.
Wow, those are some kind words. I appreciate that, Troy. And it's been great working with you for a lot of years and having you on our journey as well, and supporting and coaching our team in the background. So thank you for having me on.
Well, very much appreciate that. And I was thinking about this morning, I was thinking with the name Luke, like back in the Star Wars days, were you teased, or was it a brag for you to be called Luke? What would you say?
Yeah, I think it was something that always stuck. It came up pretty well all the time, right? So if I wanted anyone to remember my name, I just had to hit Skywalker, right? And everyone else to remember it.
Right on. Well, I today wanted to maybe if you could maybe bring us up to speed just a little bit about how you got to where your organization is now, like how you started. I think you were a millwright. Was that how you got your start? Was that?
Yeah, I mean, I credit a lot to the skilled trades piece. Right out of high school, that was a direction that I opted to go. My family's been in the skilled trades for a long time. And getting in that, I reflect back now. I didn't know it at the time, but reflecting back now on the skilled trades and that journey that I walked was really important as to kind of how I got to where I am now. And I tell this story often to tradespeople. It's not just the turning of the bolts and learning how to do your skilled trade and pull wire or fix plumbing. That it's what comes out of it, the soft skills and confidence and problem solving and resilience that comes out of coming through a journey through the trades. Okay. Really, I find helps shape and hone your leadership skills and your everything. Really, just really being able to handle different situations and meet different customers. Always thinking on your feet. And that's something I think has really lent itself well to moving into leadership roles. So,
wow. I find that so interesting because, there's the economy is broken up into so many different sectors, and you got the knowledge economy, and you got people that work in skilled trades. And my dad was similar. And people that come up through that, you see the real world. There's no getting around. There's no conceptual ideas. How am I going to build this? Or how it's like, I'm building it and it's got to be right. And if it's not right, which I think causes you to think a little differently than people say that come up in something more conceptual, like say accounting. I guess that's not super conceptual, but something like even engineers, I know sometimes when they actually have to build it and they're not always the ones that have to come down. I got to imagine that way of thinking, you said it informed your leadership. Is that true for you? Like you have to see things in a very practical way in your line of work. Is that?
Yeah, I would say the trades really create a realistic baseline, like a perspective on things, being out there and actually seeing how things are made. And I would never give that up. That piece of my journey was so impactful on all the different manufacturing plants we got to work in, food and beverage industry, steel mills. There's so many different sectors that we were able to be involved with. It really creates that baseline of practical knowledge and applied reasoning and ways of thinking of moving the needle forward and problem solving and a realistic way of nudging things forward, right? Because you get to see how it's made, but then you also get to really work with the teams, their management teams, their maintenance teams, their production teams, on really how they collaborate and how that moves things forward and how they problem solve and how they get through issues within their facilities. And why are we there as a trades group, an outside trades group or a contractor? We're there to help them and collaborate with them to solve a problem, to build efficiencies, to reduce operating costs, like all these things. So we're there hands-on doing it. And I think doing that at the beginning stages of my career, when I was only 18 when I started out of high school, those principles were kind of embedded in you and programmed into you without you even knowing it, which I find kind of interesting for reflecting back. And I watch other leaders that are in roles that kind of came through similar journeys. They have that baseline of skill sets and practicality, right?
Right on. It's something you just can't develop any other way, except, as you said, being in there, working with these other people and trades and production people, whatever it is, you can't help but learn it any other way. And good luck getting that in a course or something, right? That doesn't exist, or I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just you hone, and it happens so organically, Troy, over time, because the piece that follows it. I was fortunate. So out of the gate, I grew up on a farm. So, and I look back, and that is my pre-programming to getting in the trades, was just the collaboration and the problem solving and the self-discipline and the just the regiment of being involved in a family farm, and sort of that programming that really sets you up. But then in the trades, as you move into roles where you're actually leading a crew or leading a group within a company, you start tapping into these skills. And I was fortunate. I had some really good mentors throughout the companies I worked with that would put me in situations way over my head. And as far as I was concerned, they were way over my head. But you didn't really think about it because that's kind of what you did. But they were always there on the back end, answering the phone or giving you the information you needed or supporting you, right? Which I was fortunate to have those leaders that were willing to push me and flush out of me the confidence and the skills that I didn't know I had to push things forward. And had it not been for those managers that paid attention to those things and saw something there that they could work with, or needs that they needed out of me, right? Okay, Luke, you need to get work done through a team, figure it out. But then be there on the support side and really coaching and supporting you. So those are things that I've brought with me, and I really pay attention to as we grow young leaders, and what do we need to provide for them, right?
Oh, yeah. Wow. Well, so much in there I want to unpack with you, because that was like loaded with, I think, strategies about how to develop people. And again, the theme of what we're talking about in these podcasts is how do we inspire Canadian leaders to get the most out of their people and get most out of their organizations? This started I guess probably around as the new year was coming around. There was lots of political talk going on and conflicts between Canada and US, and everybody's saying, oh, it's their fault and their fault. But Kevin and myself said, we work with leaders all the time. We have for many years. We see that if people decide where they want to go, they can often problem solve around a lot of the barriers that are there. And it sounds like you were raised similarly in that being on a farm, first off, you got to figure out how to fix something if it breaks down the field. Like that's you got yours to figure out. And then when you're out there thrown into it, you didn't know how to handle certain situations at the time. How does that affect today? Like, how do you grow your own people? Are you a like, say, just go get them, tiger kind of thing? Or how do you balance all that today?
Yeah, I try and reflect back on not just my journey, but like my friends and family, coworkers, people I've seen come up through similar journeys, right? And use that combined knowledge and experiences and apply some of those things that are, that can move the needle forward for a young, eager team member that wants to grow themselves, right? And first, that's sort of the first thing that I look for is, do they want to grow? Do they understand where they're at? And I'll ask even some of our first year apprentices, I'll ask them, what's your 3 and 5 year goals? And you just get the weirdest looks, right? They're like, I don't know, I want to be an electrician. I'm like, okay, what does that mean, right? Like, and what part of the trade do you enjoy? What gets you excited when you get up in the morning? And I just ask kind of random questions, and just not, it's hard. You don't want to bombard them either, and you want to kind of just, lay some groundwork, get them to think about things. But if they understand and can you said something there that's really important. If they can visualize where they are in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, kind of a picture, and they get excited about that picture, I think that's really important, that they can understand, that's where I'd like to get. Because once they get that, then helping grow that person is much, much more strategic and easier, because they know where they want to go. And I usually tell them, if you don't know what your 3-year goal is or where you want to be, how am I supposed to help you get there? And then they're like, oh, I'd never really thought about that. So I challenge them early to start thinking about things, where they want to be. And I just say, there's no wrong answer. If you say, I'd like to be licensed in my trade in 3 years, and I'd like to be able to, be on a team on a new construction site doing this type of work, I'd be super happy and consider that successful. I'd be like, that's amazing. Perfect. Wow. The next person might say, well, I'd really like to, be in a service truck running a team of 5 people doing multiple jobs in this specific sector. I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. They put some thought into it, right? Yeah. Wow. So those are things I'd like to just asking them lots of questions and getting them to think ahead of, where do I want to be? Because what I often see happens is, and this happened, I watched it happen to even me in my industry. The company needs this. So they will grow. Somebody young, eager will answer the phone and go places. Okay, this is what I need. So I'm going to grow that person in this direction to facilitate that role for me, for the company. And the person doesn't really even know they're being grown or pushed in that direction or groomed for this role. And from my past experience, working for and with Gen Xers and baby boomers, that was just, this is what we need. We're going to take this person and we're going to make them what we need, which worked most of the time, because we just went with the flow. We didn't know any different, right? So, but what I find is that they'll take that person and then they'll get them into that role. And then that person doesn't succeed, or isn't interested, or winds up quitting, or gets burnt out, and they are not even sure when they wake up in the morning why they like this job, or if they like this job. Wow. And they were guided down a path and put in a position that they didn't really have any say in. Huh. So that's just one thing, a long-winded way of just saying, really just trying to get some guidance and figure out what the individuals and what your team members want for themselves. And once they decide that they want that goal, we can, if it's a fit with the company, we can push and grow and coach and train and help them achieve those goals, right?
So you're suggesting the optimal way to do it is and it takes some coaching to get it out of them, but they decide on the future, what they want, that's best. And then if it aligns with where the business is going, you support them, whatever you need to do to get them there. Versus,
this is just from my experience, right? It works differently with different companies and different people, but from my experience, really just asking those questions and getting themselves to think about, where do you want to go? And nudging them along and helping them paint that picture. And helping them get excited about a purpose and a journey that they want to be on. Man, they will, then when you back them up and support them and grow them in that role, they will collaborate with you and understand why you're pushing them and why you're challenging them with these things, right? Big part of that puzzle is just confidence. What I find, especially working with the next generations, our whole company's run by Gen Xers, and we are wired differently and grew up differently, and really spending time understanding this next awesome group of people and generations, what makes them tick and how do they want to move forward. And a big part of that is helping them get confident with themselves, and just being able to spend time just helping build confidence, helping them succeed in small little tasks and get them to see that, I can do that. Oh, I could figure that out. And helping them achieve small wins early on in their career builds that level of confidence to try things and make decisions, which is ultimately what we'd like leaders to do is make decisions and have accountability and be able to learn how to delegate. But they can't do any of those things unless they're confident in themselves and their baseline of skill sets and leadership skills.
Yeah. Wow. So it's gradual. We can't expect overnight growth. We can't expect them to always know exactly where they're going or want to go. But what I'm hearing, it's nurturing, it's talking to them, it's figuring out together. They're going to figure it out, but you're going to, well, I always say, if you're going to coach somebody, you want to get permission to coach them first. And if they've given you permission to say, here's where I'm going, now you can almost, it can be a little, not aggressive, but you can be more supportive of their vision.
Intentional. You can be more intentional.
Intentional. That's the word.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of our current leadership team, we all, like, in order to create a baseline when we started the company, you and your team were a big part of that. So we've now recognized that, the Dale Carnegie concepts and principles are like gold. They're literally, that's why you call it the gold book. It creates that baseline of self-awareness, understanding how you as a person communicate, how you send emails. And that's sort of become the baseline for our company, is just helping all of our leaders as they move in from field roles or foreman roles or different roles in the company, as they move into more of a strategic leader role, helping them understand themselves. And that creates kind of the baseline of how we speak to each other in the office, how we communicate, how we run meetings. So those are things that we found it very helpful, is creating kind of a baseline of expectations as we grow the younger generation and leaders into new roles. This is sort of our baseline of expectations. And now from here, we can move on with all kinds of different training and new things.
Wow. So it's almost like you use the best word, the baseline. It's almost like, here's the playbook for some basics in this business. And let's master those. And then you said you can build on that from there. So,
yeah. And another very key thing is having a really good leadership team, a diverse leadership team. Some companies, I've noticed, will have a very linear leadership team, like, this is what our expectations are, this is what we like in a leader, and or this is how I am and I want people to be like this. And if you look across their leadership team, and it's very linear and they're all very similar. I don't know whether it's subconsciously or consciously, I prefer to have a really diverse leadership team. So if I look across our leadership team, there is so many different personalities and such an interesting dynamics. And I'll tell you, it's not easy to manage. Because you have all the different personalities and perspectives and everything. But at the end of the day, I see and would like to believe that we cover a lot more ground because everybody's different and adds a little piece of their value to the leadership team. And then when you're growing young people, bringing somebody into that environment, they take a little piece of all of us away. So we bring a new coordinator into a role, or project management into a role. It's just, I remind our team, just remember, this person is going to take a little piece of each of us away. So let's be intentional and strategic on what piece of us do we want them to have.
Whoa,
right?
Yeah. Right.
We all have a basket of
best side.
So that's one thing. Having a diverse leadership team, and the value that our team here at Arcadian Projects has been able to, transition skill set and knowledge over to this, is, I find it very impactful. And I love the challenge of managing that challenge, that difficult and dynamic leadership team. Yeah. But man, we cover a lot of ground as far as talent and people skills and soft skills and life experiences.
Okay. So that's what you mean when you say diverse, is like they've got all sorts of personalities and backgrounds, and even like trade backgrounds kind of thing, or not necessarily, or how would you? Is that not
as important on the trade side? Just really that everybody's walked a very interesting journey. It doesn't have, you're not even trades related. So being able to acknowledge and learn from everybody's individual journey and what makes them who they are. Why did they end up here? Why did I gravitate and want them on this team? How did they get here? And what skill sets do they have? And what is repeatable, and what is teachable, and how do we transition some of those skill sets? But it also helps you understand, the war wounds and the scars from their journey, and what makes them who they are. Right.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's fascinating. I want to, if you don't mind going back in your journey a little bit to, you said, you grew up in a family farm, entrepreneurial endeavor, right? My grandfather was a dairy farmer and I lived right next door. So I was there on the farm so much, but my dad worked at General Motors. And so I had these two right next door ways of thinking about growing up. I chose an entrepreneurial route. How did you go from like a tradesman learning the craft, and then how did you get into the business, and how did that all come about that you made what you got now?
That is a good question, and I do get asked that sometimes. And what because I went through a 15-year journey, just my trades journey, before I became an entrepreneur in my mid-30s, right? So I was like, why? Sometimes I ask myself, my friends all ask me why. Like, you finally worked your way up the ladder, you're running projects, you were engaged in, a leadership role at these large contractors and gaining ground and climbing the ladder, if you want to call that, into roles. And what makes you take off those golden handcuffs? Because when you get there, it becomes hard and difficult because you are measured that, oh, you've succeeded, you've made it there, you're doing well, you're making good money. Why the heck would you just leave that and walk away? And I don't really have a good answer other than the fact I was burnt out. I was tired. It was hard on my family because I loved my work. Wow. I still love my work. I love my work. and that is something I see a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. Their passion to grow themselves, to grow the companies they work for and their own companies. They love their work. So that was hard. So I saw this as kind of maybe a reset. I was married, young kids. I just finished a large greenfield site, Woodstock Toyota plant. And it was such a huge impact in my career and what I learned from that and the good people I worked for. But I was tired. And then I'm going to say probably the biggest thing that led to it was the financial crisis in 2008-9, right? And we just finished this massive project and we had time on our hands, and I had no team anymore because the auto industry was dead. Everybody was laid off. I had time to recover and research and figure out what I wanted to do next. And so did my business partner at the time. He worked for another company in a similar role. And I think we just said, you know what? Lots of people to us saw how hard we worked and things that we did along our career. If you worked half as hard for yourself as you do for these companies, you would be successful as an entrepreneur. I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was. I was like, okay. But then you start thinking about it, and that sort of weighed around in the back of my head. And we had an opportunity. The Green Energy Act was launched in 2009. We did some homework on this energy sector, started learning more about global warming and the climate crisis, and started thinking about how do we take all our combined knowledge and experience, what could we do with this journey? And I had a small window of time where I was able to think about this journey that I've been talking to you about. Up until now, I had thought about it's a blur. But then I had this window to think about it and then realize, kind of worked for some cool companies and did some really neat projects and met some awesome people. And what do I do with this now basket of knowledge I've now recognized that I'm starting to collect? Wow. And that's when I thought, what if we could apply this to this new sector that's taking off, this energy sector that no one's really talked about until now? Yeah. And then I just kind of realized with some good coaching from some close friends and that were watching us and knew us, and some encouragement to have some confidence, they said, why don't you, what have you got to lose? And I'm like, I hadn't thought about that. My job. And they're like, yeah, what is that? Would you be hired tomorrow? And I'm like, well, yeah. I'm like, by this company, this company, this company. People know who you are. They're like, well, then what do you got to lose? You can get a job tomorrow. You could screw this up royally in your first month. You're going to have a job tomorrow. You have a trades ticket in your pocket. That's something, that's when it started sinking in, having this trades ticket. And that is like a lifeline anywhere in the globe, really, to go seek employment. And that gave us the confidence to kind of, well, let's try it. What have we got to lose? We built car plants and manufacturing plants and repair equipment. If we can't figure out how to put solar panels on our buddy's farm roof, then there's something wrong. And that was the start of kind of entrepreneurship in our world. So
Right. That's so fascinating. I never heard that connection as to how you made the tradition. I was going to ask you about, yeah, how did you get into the energy side, the solar side, and that answers it, man. So you didn't come from expertise specifically to that, but you guys studied it and you figured it out and said, why not give it a go?
Well,
So,
a big deciding factor was that being my partner was an electrician, I'm a millwright. So it was like all of the people, everybody was out of the gate at the same time. They launched the program, the Feed and Terra program. So there was all kinds of people trying to figure out, how do I get in on this?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was like people driving around with a ladder on their minivan, with I install solar. Right. So it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure we can do this. Right. So, and so with everybody being out of the gate at the same time, there wasn't a lot to lose. We're like, we had the backing and the structure of our knowledge in project management and safety and certifications. And like, it's like we started the company literally a decade ahead of most of our competitors as far as protocols and infrastructure and safety. And we one of our coaches, a mutual friend, was amazing. He gave us the confidence. He came on as a third partner. He's like, he convinced his company to say, look, if I'm betting on two guys, these guys are going to do it. Do we want in on it? And they came on board and really helped us in the first 2-year launch to run back office and teach us business principles and create proposals and all the financials and teach us good business practices in those first 2 years.
Right. Wow.
Instrumental. And we're now doing it for another business we just launched. That exact payback of what they did for us, we're now doing it for a new business. Almost the same, replicated the same model. So
is that right? Oh, very good. So it's like you paying it forward now. You guys got what you got your start that way. That's so cool. I know these days, like I always, I want to actually do a podcast with just Kevin and I on this subject because it's coming up. Everybody's afraid of, not everybody, AI. So AI is bringing in, a lot of talks as there won't be jobs in 10 years because it'll be all done by robots and the AI. And other people say, no, maybe that's a little bit too aggressive. But nonetheless, people are afraid of the future. Nobody knows the future, but there's some, pointers that say jobs are definitely going to change. We probably won't have truck drivers, for example, in maybe 10 to 20 years, right? And so things like that. And to me, I've always thought, well, business is solving problems, right? That's all business really is. People got problems, a business is formed or exists, and it helps solve problems. With your knowledge and now, and again, I'm not asking you to predict the future, but as you look into the future, do you see, what do you see? Do you see a lot of change? Do you see an exciting opportunity coming up? Are you frightened of it? Where you stand on all this future opportunity?
That's a lot to unpack, Troy. I could talk for 2 hours just on that because I've been doing a lot of thinking about it lately, a lot of thinking and reflecting. I belong to an entrepreneurs group. I sit on the board, and it is so refreshing because I feel like we're just a little ahead of the curve. We found out about AI like 7 years ago, right? Like it's like you start hearing and thinking about this as you belong to this association of all businesses and kind of thinking about that. And it's helped me grow myself personally, immensely over the years. Entrepreneurs organization has.
That's EO, right? That you're part of.
Yeah. And it's been just a real, just a solid group of people that are all on a growth path and want to move the needle on so many things and keep solving problems. So surrounding myself with those people has just taken my leadership and my awareness to another level of realizing the importance. And it's also, I never read before I joined EO. Like, I'm embarrassed to say it. I was a trades guy. Oh, I can't read. I'm a farmer, a trades guy. I don't read. And I was like, I started learning about it, hearing everybody swapping, books and different things. And I'm like, I'm kind of the odd man out here. I don't read. So I started thinking and learning and realizing the impact that learning and personal growth has had on this group I'm hanging around with. Is just incredible. So now I crave it. I'm like, I try and read a book a month and just soak it up. And I feel like I have a lot of decades to make up for because I feel I didn't push myself to to learn. But back to the technology side.
Yes.
The technology side is just really where I'm learning a lot right now. And to me, I really try and find that path down the middle. I really don't, you know what I mean? Things are going to move forward. They have to move forward. In order for us to solve the crises, the climate crisis, and all of the other world issues, that is all technology enables a lot of these problems to be solved. And some people argue, well, technology is causing some of these problems. Well, sometimes, but for the most part, technology needs to keep evolving in order for us to keep having a sustainable way forward. If you're looking at a scale of the planet on thousands of years, it is instead of just, decades. But technology is going to change things. It has immensely, and it's doubling so fast, year over year. Now it's down to the point of technology and software and AI specifically. Just the increased growth is exponential, and having that effect on society, we have to be able to comprehend it, accept it, enable it, and change. And that's hard for us as humans. Technology exists today. The technology exists, and the funding to support the technology and integration of the technology to fight the climate crisis and many other issues is all exists today. Yeah. It's changing our human behavior. That is our biggest challenge as a species. This is going too deep, but anyways, we have a problem with that. We don't like to change. So this is how it relates to your question: is we have to be able to fully understand where this technology is going. And yes, it's going to change jobs. Yes, it scares us, but I try and look at it through a lens of excitement and through a lens of get on this fast moving train and be part of it, learn it, adopt it. For us as an organization and myself personally, I look at the technology as just a way of making me way more efficient, making me have way bigger impact. I can do more in a day. I can reach more people. I can support more customers. I can roll out impactful projects faster, more efficiently, and cost effective. So I look at it through a lens of efficiency and being able to deliver the impact of what needs to happen across the globe. You can look at it through another lens and the detriment it's causing and the jobs that it's changing and getting rid of. But at the end of the day, I really think it has to keep moving forward. In the wake of this, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be hard. We have, major financial, an economic model that hasn't worked for decades, but we keep trying to force it. That's all going to change, and technology is changing that. Yeah. So I don't know how you speed up human behavior and human adoption and human buy-in to this fast changing technology, but you're spot on. It's going to be in our face, and we're going to deal with it every day. So you either get up positively and figure it out and be part of it, or get frustrated and whine and complain about it. So bringing our team on that journey is a challenge. Like having the right training, introducing it at the right time, showing them that we are okay with them adopting this and doing these things. We expect it. We're supporting you. We'll train you. Trying to create that awareness around our small group. Because I see that if we can do that, those people all go home and they might speak just a little more intelligently about this. Maybe they learned something about this that they can share with their kids or their friends on the weekend or their buddies. And we have this hub of people that are basically, if we're up to speed on the technology and what it's doing, and we can, point them in the right direction and share what we're learning as leaders and as a progressive company in a fast moving industry, then they can speak more positive about it. They're going into their communities and they maybe understand it just a little bit more and creating that message that it's not bad. This is where we're going. We have to figure it out. We have to adopt. We have to change. It's going to make your job better. It might change your job. It might create opportunities. I look at change, instead of it being hard and frustrating, is I just even super difficult situations with customers or major screw ups. My team will attest to this. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get to talk to the CEO of the company because I screwed something up. It happened to me this week. It happened to me this week. No one knew who this guy was. No one's met with him. I'm on a call with him on Saturday because I screwed something up. our team made some changes and things. And those are the issues that you dive into, and you create an opportunity from these challenges and tough times. That's what builds the resilience in you, and you learn, and you come out the other side way more confident. This was a really long-winded answer to a really interesting and deep topic.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So again, so much in this. Thank you. I was curious about how you engage your people in AI, but the point you made about if we can affect them here a little bit, they go back in their communities, their families, they talk about it maybe in a positive way. It also relates back to what you said earlier, how you learn the business, how you build your young people in the business. I hear it's incremental. It's little by little. They're going to figure a lot of it out themselves as long as they have a vision. And to me, all of these ideas really come together. And I'm interpreting your philosophy is that you have this sense of optimism about the future. You said, just give it a go. You're going to learn it as you go. And then something you just said here about breakdowns lead to opportunities. And there's something I love from Think and Grow Rich. Every adversity is the seed of an equivalent or greater advantage. And I get the sense that that's how you see life, is you say, okay, I'm going to learn something here. It's going to help me be better than I was yesterday. And that's just going to add to my assets or my ability to deal with the world. Is that about it? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah, I'm starting to be more in tune of how I think. I haven't thought about it for a long time, but now being with the Entrepreneurs Organization, I find that you start looking inward and really figuring yourself out and why you think like this. But yeah, for me, it's just like, what did I learn? And how can I learn? And how did this get screwed up? Or how do we solve that problem? And it started with when my partner came to me and says, "Oh, I want to buy you out." And this was 10 years ago or more. And I was like, oh man, I didn't sleep well that night. Right. I was like, When I started thinking about it, I'm like, we've been in business 5 years. By default, I kind of got stuck in the office and kind of learning the processes of being in an office after being a trades guy and a company and sales team and accounting team. And it was a whirlwind. But I'm telling you, that was 5 years of knowledge that I would have never got had I stayed in my trade. In that first 5 years of startup in a business. And I came in the other day, I'm like, the next day after he mentioned, I'm like, you know what? I'm good with that. As I got 5 years of school and it's been worth the knowledge I gained is worth every ounce of parting ways and going and applying all this knowledge to my next opportunity. So I just saw that as a wicked opportunity for me and to take this 5 years of knowledge that I never had before I started and go do anything different. It didn't end up that way. We wound up flipping shoes, and long story short, right? And I wound up buying the company, but it was, but being okay with that difficult time and recognizing that I got what I got out of it and the opportunities that I got out of it and the opportunities that will come from it. Right.
Right on. There's a book by Dan Sullivan, The Gap and the Gain. I don't know if you've seen it or heard about it. You just reminded me of it. Like he says, imagine this, you're at the edge of a field and you look into the field and you see the horizon. The end of the field represents your goal. So there's a fence at the back. So you start walking towards the fence and you get halfway there and you go, oh my gosh, I see now beyond the fence. I see way more. And if you just kept your eye on the horizon, you're never going to be satisfied because there's always a new goal, something new to aspire to. He says every now and then you got to just turn around and look back and say, what have I become? Who have I become? And that fills us with this immense gratitude, this confidence, saying, oh my gosh, I've got all these competencies and ideas and life experience and skills that I can now use where I am. And I'm going to still keep moving towards goals, of course, but look at how much more equipped I am. And it's a lot of the breakdowns in our life that happen, whether it's relationships or businesses or all sorts of stuff. We're now more equipped to deal with so much more. That's what you reminded me of as you described your journey on that. And I hear this deep sense of gratitude you have for all of the experiences. You said, I had great mentors early. I had great people kind of guide me along the way. They threw me into it. And you give a lot of credit to other people in your philosophy. It's pretty clear. So
I think if you're honest with yourself and you look back, I mean, we didn't make ourselves this. We didn't get here, right? My dad played a big role in that. It was pushing me hard as a young man on a farm and being in a work situation, and he created that passion in me to enjoy work and seeing what you got done at the end of the day. And then as a young person, you learn that it's pretty gratifying to do something and see the outcome at the end of the day, what you did. And that's one thing, I'll be honest, I miss a lot from being kind of in the office a lot more now. I miss seeing the tangible project you built or fabricated, or the machine you fixed, or the problem you solved is right in front of your eyes. I miss that part of it, but I try and look at the strategy now. Just look at the team and look at the growth we created in our team. Look at the new process we implemented. Look at the efficiencies we gained. So I try and measure that. But as a trades guy, it's hard not to measure it as a tangible, what did I get done today?
Right.
That's still really early, right? Like those people along your journey, and then you now have confidence. You now crave that drug of, I want to tackle this and I want to get it done. And that problem solving adrenaline, that's what I associate it with. It's just an adrenaline rush of being able to solve something and fix something and watch it actually operate and push a product out the other end. Is like, you go home at night and you're like, yeah, nailed that. And then people are like, yeah, that was so cool. You came in and you did that. And you did it with a team, and you go off together and you recognize what you did. I'm thinking about this as now. I've never really thought about it, but that to me is what got me this craving, this adrenaline rush early on.
Wow.
And you keep doing that. And I don't know how to teach that. How do you teach that adrenaline to the next generation of, I want to execute this project extra efficient. I want to make sure I come in under my hours. I want to make sure that I've hit all the targets. I want to make sure the customer's satisfied and is emailing my boss to tell me he did a good job. How do you create that adrenaline? Because those little hits of adrenaline, of just the gratification of knowing you help somebody.
Right.
I don't know how you teach that, right? But creating that in the next people, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question I want to figure out too, because I don't know how to do that. Your organization, you've got a reputation for finding good people, retaining people. Could you talk with, because I know in your field right now, you can't find enough people. You said I'd add 5 more. You said this in a previous conversation, I'd add 5 more people if I could right away today. But how have you been able to do your best at retaining the people, allowing you to grow like you've grown? Like, what's your ideas, techniques, strategies? How have you done it?
So many things, just trying different things and not doing them all well. But making adjustments, and you realize, why, asking questions, and why did that person leave, and what did I do wrong, and who was that person working for that maybe created an environment that they didn't want to stay. We learn a lot when good people come and go, right? And I'm trying to just pay a little more attention to that. Why has this person been here? I've several people that have been here over 10 years. We have a 10-year club. We have a 15-year club of people that have been here 15 years. Small group that have been here basically almost since the beginning.
Wow.
Why are they still here? And just really trying to figure that out. And we've had some people leave. We always try and part ways on good terms. And you were here, you added value, you did this, you're moving on, you need to grow yourself. I completely understand. And having those people come back, we're starting to experience that now. So then I'm trying to pay attention. Well, what are we doing that they want to come back? They went. I think it's awesome giving them the opportunity without conflict to go experience things, go try the things. Because sometimes they can't grow themselves or don't know what they want until they go try a few things. I find too many companies fight that, and they're like, no, you can't go. I want to keep you. I'm going to pay you more. But I'm like, is that what they need? Or do they need to grow themselves or figure something out?
Wow.
Paying attention to some of these things, trying to create an environment that is just positive, getting the whole leadership team to speak the same message and speak the same language is huge. Leading by example, explaining to our leadership team, who's all ex-trades guys. So it's a challenge. We all are wired in a certain way. We all love reaction mode. We all think and talk and in a certain way. Being able to hone that and people are watching. The team is watching. They listen. And so leading by example and just trying to create good habits in yourself, if you can convince some of your senior leaders, just create good habits on punctuality and how you run meetings, on what you eat, how you keep yourself healthy, all these things people watch. Trying to just pay attention to that. Now, as far as it goes with retaining and keeping people and drawing people in, those things are, hard to measure and maybe work or don't work, but creating that environment of a positive experience for people, a spot where they feel they have an opportunity to grow. So talking about growth plans, asking them about their goals, some of these things are very simple conversations to have, but maybe carry a way bigger weight than $1 an hour or a pension plan. Like, you know what I mean? Like those things are all important in base packages. Everybody needs to eat, but the things of creating the environment, especially with the next generations coming in, they pay attention to that. They care about what the company does, what the company's purpose is and where it's going. They want to be a part of the movement. So understanding as a company why we exist, not what we do, not how we do it, not who we work for, but actually why does the company exist? The next generation, they care about that. They want to know and they want to be a part of something. So I'm trying to work away at that, trying to take that and articulate that is hard, right? Through your mission, vision, values. We've completely shifted ours in the last 3 years, more to a model that follows my personal purposes, creating opportunities and building resiliency in our people, for our customers, and in our communities to develop the future. Wow. So our company is starting to kind of morph more into that. Is more about creating opportunities and growing people, because the better we can, the more tools and knowledge we can have in a team, the better they are, the more problems they'll solve, the bigger impact they'll have, whether they're here or not here. Right. So those are some things in the background that aren't as tangible as your standard. How do you keep people? We run an employee referral program. So we pay like $2,500 if somebody refers a good teammate, or we hire somebody that's referred by one of our team members. They get employee referral program, employee surveys, lots of things, regular communication, safety, paying attention to some of these things that are very important, but vocalizing them and not only just talking about them, but putting the platforms in place that your team members all feel that the company is safe and they feel that it's a workplace, that's an environment. But literally it's evolving every day. It's a daily grind. And if you take it off your radar, that's when things go sideways. So,
okay. Right. I was talking to somebody this week, actually auto repair business, and they were saying if techs don't get regular communication from the owner or senior leader, they start making it up in their minds about that I'm not valuable, especially the younger generation. Like they start making up what they think is what people think about them. And so you have to tell them on a regular basis, you're valuable. Here's why. Do you see that with your types of people in your, do they need pretty constant feedback, or what's your sense of that?
Yeah, for sure. And I think even us, we say we don't need it. Like as Gen Xers, it was like, we don't need it. We never got it. We don't need that credibility or feedback. But I actually think everybody does. And I don't think we isolate it to the next generation, but it is extra important to them because they honestly don't know and they want to know. So that makes them, in my mind, a good teammate to grow because they actually want to know how they're doing. And they will handle constructive feedback. They will listen. They will try and make a change. And they don't just want the pat on the back. It's too easy. People say, all these young people want a pat on the back every week. And that's not what they're looking for. And recently our team has done some training and we realized how terrible we are at giving feedback, giving positive feedback. We're not good at. So if we're not good at giving positive feedback, how are we at handing out constructive feedback?
Yeah.
So the leadership team here has spent the last month or so just learning a little bit more about how to give feedback and who are you giving it to and what makes them tick and how do they perceive feedback as an individual, as a personality type. Don't just tell me, yeah, you're doing a great job. Thanks. You knocked that job out of the park. Good job. And we think, yeah, I told them. What does that mean to the person? They walk away, they go, I don't know what I did to knock this job out of the park. They almost leave more worried and confused than they did before you gave them any feedback, because they're like scratching their head going, I don't even know what I did. Like,
right. Why are you telling me now or something?
Well, so then they think, maybe they think, oh, because I cheated here, I cut that corner, I didn't hire the safety rep, I didn't do this, so that must be what he meant. I got the job done early. They're really proud of me. So if you don't give it accurately and specifically, you can actually be, detrimental. So we're learning about that a little bit better. The first step was just giving any feedback. And now we're learning how to give it a little more accurately and positively and impactfully.
Right on. Well, good for you. What a good initiative to take, because it's a little thing that makes such a big difference. And oh man, when I look at I like to think, oh, I don't need feedback. Similar to what you said about Gen X, right? We don't need feedback, but I sure like it when I get it. I got to admit I do, and probably don't get enough. But
well, here's one thing that my mentor told me that stuck with me. And he challenged me. He says, do you ever ask for feedback from your team, especially as a leader and as an owner? People are super hesitant to give any feedback or challenge you on anything, and recognizing that and being aware of that is super critical, because we can run a team on direction. If they think that's what you want, they'll just do it, and giving them the okay and the confidence to challenge you on things is something that is super hard to do, but impactful. Be able to challenge your team. And actually, I have it on my weekly scorecard to actually ask a team member for feedback. I have to say how many times I did that. Say, hey, come in for a minute. We had that meeting. How did I come across? Did the message come across clear? Was there anything that I could have did different? Because I find as somebody like me who's full of energy and I'm a talker, I can get going. And sometimes I don't know how the message was delivered. And asking for feedback from people gives them permission on a regular basis to share openly, which is something I find I'm not very good at and I need to get better at. So,
wow, me neither. I'm gonna do that now that you've told me what you're doing. So you keep it on your scorecard, you track it. It's something that's
just consistent. A reminder. Remember to ask your team how you're doing on specific things where they can actually comfortably say, well, when you said this, it kind of came across like this, and I was reading the room and the customer did this. I might not have ever noticed it, right?
Okay, cool. Well, this is great. This has been excellent, Luke. I've really got a ton from this. I know our people watching this are going to as well be inspired. You're so down to earth, but real. And who is it? I think my mentor used to say, Yogi Berra said, it ain't bragging if you done it, you done it. And so you come across with that kind of credibility. So I just want to thank you for.
No, I just did a presentation last week. I was challenged to share, about the history of our company, and I had to put a presentation together. And it was, to an entrepreneur, a room full of entrepreneurs. Yeah. And it was, the journey of Arcadian Projects, the journey of myself, and the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And it was so awesome to speak. So I didn't share a lot about the ugly, but happy to ever talk about. I find I've learned way more from my valley of despairs and my challenges and the massive, I call it the throw up in the parking lot moments, where you're just at rock bottom and don't know what you're going to do. And those are the moments that define you and change you and push you, and you push past that and you go, wow, I did that. And you've now moved the bar up a notch, right? But it was interesting to reflect back on the last 15 years and think about very specific instances that were not so pleasant and were very big learning curves. So always happy to chat about that in personal and business life. So,
yeah. Well, you're the kind of person we'd love to have back and do that kind of conversation. And I just really appreciate your wisdom and your time. And this is going to be valuable to our people watching it. So yeah, thank you so much, Luke, for this time. It's amazing. And I've so loved working with you, and we love working with your people. The culture is just great there. And you set the pace early on, and keep doing that. You're doing great work. So
I appreciate that, Troy. It's nice to get an outside perspective to validate some of the things that you've been trying to do right. So I appreciate you and your team over the years too. So thanks a lot for having me on.
Appreciate it. Thank you.